Ayo. Last class I explained about gyroscope, then how to draw angular velocity vector, etc. Today we will discuss about gyroscopic couple and its effect. Consider a spinning disk with angular velocity omega radians per second about axis of spin OX. So this is OX and this is axis of spin. Here disk is rotating in clockwise direction, anti-clockwise direction when seen from the front. So the observer is standing here. Okay, so this is the direction of viewing. So this is in anti-clockwise direction for this observer. Since the plane in which the disk is rotating is parallel to the plane YOZ, therefore it is called plane of spinning. So here this is the disk rotating in anti-clockwise direction, and this plane is parallel with this disk, plane of this disk. Okay, this plane YOZ plane is parallel with this plane of disk. So YOZ plane is called plane of spinning. Okay. Then the axis of spin is said to be rotating about an axis OY. So this axis of spin along with this disk is rotating about this OY axis in counterclockwise direction when we are looking from top. Okay, so about this OY axis, this axis and this disk are rotating. Okay, so it is shown as d theta after some time. Okay, and this velocity with which this entire system is rotating with respect to this OY axis is represented as omega p radians per second. Okay, this is another angular velocity. This disk is rotating with some angular velocity omega radians per second. It is a constant angular velocity, and at the same time, this entire system, this axis along with this disk is rotating about this OY axis with another angular velocity omega p radians per second. This horizontal plane on which this disk is, this motion is happening, this horizontal plane ZOX plane or XOZ plane. Okay, this horizontal plane XOZ plane is called plane of precision, and this OY is called axis of precision. Okay, precision is happening here. It is going to rotate about this OY axis in this direction. Okay, in this direction. So this plane this plane is called plane of precision, and OY axis is called axis of precision. So about axis of precision, the precision is happening. Then angular momentum of the disk is I omega. I is moment inertia. Then omega is angular velocity of the disk. Okay, it's a constant angular velocity. Velocity vector, we can represent it, or velocity is a vector quantity, and this angular momentum is vector quantity. We can represent it as vector OX. Okay, so this is the angular momentum. This angular momentum of the disk. Okay, so this direction. Okay, so here for this observer looking from here, this is rotating in counterclockwise direction, right? This is rotating in counterclockwise direction, so it is coming towards observer. Okay, so this is coming towards observer. So here, if you are representing with some arrow, this is something like this. Okay, observer is looking from here. This is observer. It's coming towards that observer. Then the axis spin OX is rotating about rotating anti-clockwise direction from top about axis OY. Okay, so if you are looking from top, so if you are looking from here in downward direction, you can see this OX axis is rotating about OY in counterclockwise direction. Okay, and after some time it will be at this position OX dash. Then angular momentum will now represented by another vector OX dash here. Okay, if, in this vector diagram, we can represent new angular momentum vector direction as OX dash. Okay, then changing angular momentum is equal to I omega d theta. Okay, so this is a change in angular momentum I omega d theta. So Rate of change of angular momentum. Rate of change, if you're taking its rate of change, it becomes I omega d theta with respect to dt, and d theta by dt is nothing but it is omega p. Okay, this rate of change of angular momentum is result by the application of torque to the disk, so causing position. So it is called active gyroscopic torque. So this is the torque what we are applying here to change the position of this OX axis. Okay, so it is called active gyroscopic torque, and what is happening in opposite direction is reactive gyroscopic couple. So this is the direction of active gyroscopic couple. Here it is represented x dash representing direction of active gyroscopic torque. Okay, and here just opposite to that it is reactive gyroscopic couple. And active gyroscopic couple its magnitude wise it is equal to I omega p. Okay, I omega p. Then the torque required to cause this axis of spin to precess in horizontal plane is active gyroscopic torque. It is applied torque. It is nothing but it is applied torque. And the reactive torque applied to the axis tends to rotate the axis of spin in opposite direction. It is reactive gyroscopic torque. Okay, what we are applying is active gyroscopic torque, and the result of which is reactive gyroscopic torque. Then we discussed about gyroscope. It is nothing but a spinning body which is free to move in any direction under the action of external forces. Then this first case, gyroscopic effect on airplane. We can consider this airplane as it's composed of a disc moving in clockwise or rotating in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Here propeller is considered as the rotating in clockwise direction. So this is top view of airplane, and this is rotating in clockwise direction when viewed from rear side. So it is very important in which direction we are looking towards this rotor. So here airplane propeller is rotating clockwise viewed from rear side. So we are looking from here. This is moving in this direction, forward direction. At the same time, for this observer, this propeller, this entire propeller and rotating parts are rotating in clockwise direction. Then angular momentum vector is represented by OA for this observer. This is moving in clockwise direction when viewing from here. So we can represent this angular momentum vector of this rotor here as OA. Okay, at this initial position. Then when this airplane takes a left turn, so this while moving in forward direction, this airplane will take a left turn like this. Okay, now this is the angular momentum vector first in this direction for the observer looking from rear side. Okay, now after some time it takes a turn to its left, then angular momentum vector is shifted to new position OB. Okay, so now the angular momentum vector is shifted like this. Okay, for this observer again this rotor is rotating in clockwise direction. So by using right hand screw rule, it's going away from observer, so we will get that direction. Okay, now it is OB. Okay, so from OA it is shifted to new position OB. Then AB represent active gyroscopic couple. Here AB represent active gyroscopic couple, and B dash A dash represent reactive gyroscopic couple, and which is equal and opposite to AB. Okay, here it is represented. Then this reactive gyroscopic couple, its effect is to tends to raise the nose and depress the tail of airplane. Okay, so because of this reactive gyroscopic couple, it will tends to raise the nose of this airplane. This nose portion will rise and tail portion will depress. Okay, so this is the effect of this reactive gyroscopic couple. So how we will arrive this effect that we will discuss. So this was case gyroscopic effect on an airplane, and this is a condition airplane with propeller rotating clockwise viewed from rear side, and same time it takes a left turn. So for this observer, OA is first angular momentum vector. After some time it takes the turn and it is moving in this direction. Okay, so OB is our final angular momentum vector, and AB is our active gyroscopic coupled direction, and B dash A dash is reactive gyroscopic coupled. Okay, so we will keep this this entire system in this coordinate system like this: OX, OZ, OY plane. And OX line is axospin. Okay, OX line representing axospin. Here we are considering that the this rotor is placed here, something like this. Okay, this is a rotor. This is axospin. Okay. So in plane of spin, we can represent the direction of rotor. It is rotating clockwise when viewed from right side. So here we can represent that rotation with one arrow. Okay, plane of spin. In plane of spin, we can represent this rotor rotation with one arrow in clockwise direction. Okay. Then about OZ, when it is taking a turn. When it is taking a turn towards left side, it is about OZ axis. It is OZ axis. Okay, it is taking a left turn. So that turn we can represent with an arrow here. Okay, so this is towards left. It is taking a turn. Okay, and what is happening here? Here, our angular momentum vector. Here, this entire stuff, this entire thing is happening here. Okay, so we can represent this one here like this is OA, and after some time it takes this angular velocity vector. Okay, so this is the direction of active gyroscopic pole, and this is the direction of reactive gyroscopic pole. Okay, just opposite to that. And observer is looking from here. For this observer, this reactive gyroscopic pole is coming to his observer like this. Okay, reactive gyroscopic pole is coming to his observer like this. So it is in counterclockwise direction. So effect of this reactive gyroscopic pole is in counterclockwise direction. So we can represent that effect here in plane of gyroscopic pole, which is perpendicular with this plane of spin and plane of precession. Okay, so this is perpendicular with this plane of gyroscopic pole is perpendicular with the plane of precession and the plane of spin. Okay, so this axis OY axis here represents axis of gyroscopic pole. OY axis here represent axis of gyroscopic pole, and perpendicular that we have plane of gyroscopic pole. Okay, so here we have three axes: axis of spin, axis of precession, axis of gyroscopic pole. Okay, in axis of spin, the disc is mounted and it is rotating clockwise direction. Rotating clockwise direction when we are viewing from right side. Okay, then about this axis of precession, this entire thing is going to rotate in clockwise direction. Okay, so we can represent here, and from that diagram we will get the direction of reactive gyroscopic pole, and it is coming towards observer. Okay, so by using right hand screw rule, here the effect of this reactive gyroscopic pole is in counterclockwise direction. Okay, and here we can apply one. Here this is aeroplane moving in this direction, forward direction. Airplane moving in forward direction. So this is the direction of movement of that airplane. So this effect, this reactive gyroscopic coupled effect, is to raise this part, and depress this back part. Okay, meaning raise the nose and depress the tail. So this is the effect of this reactive gyroscopic couple. Okay, so reactive gyroscopic couple will tends to raise the nose and depress the tail of airplane. Hope it is clear. So this is case 2. Airplane propeller rotating clockwise viewed from rear side, and it is taking a right turn. Okay, again we have this coordinate system, axis of spin, axis of position and axis of gyroscopic couple. And perpendicular to these axes, we have plane, corresponding planes. Plane of spin, plane of gyroscopic couple, and plane of position. Okay. And in plane of spin, we can represent here rotating clockwise, propeller rotating clockwise with a clockwise arrow. And in plane of position, we have a counterclockwise arrow. Okay, about OZ axis. This is taking a right turn. Okay, about OZ axis, it is taking a right turn. So we can use one counterclockwise arrow. Okay, anti-clockwise arrow here. So not counterclockwise, it is clockwise. Okay, clockwise arrow here. It is taking a right turn, so it is clockwise when we are looking from top. So this is top view. Okay, then here OC is our initial angular momentum vector and OD is our final angular momentum vector. Okay, OC is our initial angular momentum vector, OD is our final angular momentum vector. We can represent that that vector is here. We can represent that vector is here. Okay, this is OA initial angular momentum vector and this is OC final angular momentum vector. So this is the direction of active gyroscopic couple. Okay, and opposite to that here, this is the reactive gyroscopic couple direction. So for observer standing here at this end, so direction of reactive gyroscopic couple is going away from the observer. Okay, it is going away from observer. So we can arrive a conclusion that the gyroscopic couple is acting in clockwise direction. Okay, so it is by using right hand screw rule. It's going away from the observer, so it is in clockwise direction. Okay, and if you place an aeroplane here, we will get the effect, and this is the effect. To dip the nose and raise the tail of the airplane. Okay, dip the nose and raise the tail of the airplane. So this is the effect of this reactive gyroscopic couple. And other two cases, you can arrive the conclusion by yourself. And these are the cases. Case 3, gyroscopic effect on airplane when airplane propeller rotating anti-clockwise viewed from the rear, taking left turn. You get a similar conclusion. And this is next one. Airplane propeller rotating anti-clockwise direction viewed from rear side, taking left turn, right? Sorry, this is right turn. Okay. We can arrive at this conclusion. And the direction of either the spin of the rotor or the position is changed, the gyroscopic effect is reversed. But if both are changed, the effect remains same.